I'm your host, Annie Bowles, and this is News du Jour. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the News du Jour, a calmer space to consume the news. So today I have 3 mini stories here up at the top, and then I have some juicy stories. Meta getting slapped with a giant fine is among them, so let's get into it. For our first mini story, this is really exciting and totally random, but any minute now, India is actually set to overtake China as the world's most populous nation. This comes at a time when India is really exploding in global relevance, and it's kind of their moment, if you will. The war in Ukraine is really affecting them, and they're really just stepping up. It's a very interesting time, but they are set to be the largest population in the world any day, any minute now, as their population is still on the incline and China's is not, and they're very neck and neck right now. So we'll let you know when that happens officially. So the Republicans on Capitol Hill have now had 6 rounds of voting for McCarthy's speakership, and he has lost again and again and again and again and again and again, 6 times. Talk about a browbeating. Things are still in a deadlock to see who will blink first. Will they find an alternative speaker, or will the far-right outliers be wooed into submission with their demands being met? Only time will tell. And for our last mini story, Governor Newsom of California has declared a state of emergency on the state due to yet another winter storm. Some areas have even evacuation warnings going on. Experts are saying that this one coming is what they're calling a, quote, massive bomb cyclone, end quote. I don't even know exactly what that means, but it certainly sounds scary. Experts are saying you can expect several inches of rainfall if you're in the area, very high winds, and this is all coming to a state that is still recovering from a snowstorm, a rainstorm, and 2 back-to-back earthquakes, all in the span of like 4 weeks. There will likely be more power outages, flash floods, especially due to how drenched the soil is in the area. It's not going to be pretty. So definitely, if you're in the area, tune into your local weather channels and play it safe. Better safe than sorry. And we'll keep you guys posted on this storm. So without further ado, we'll jump into today's first longer story. Meta gets fined. In the past, we have covered that the company Meta and other tech giants are coming under increased scrutiny world over, but especially in Europe. Europe is really looking to hold these companies accountable for treating their users right in a number of different capacities, and to make sure that the companies are following the letter of the law. And it's to the point where Meta has even threatened to pull out of Europe at times. And while that did not happen, they have now been slapped with a giant fine by European officials for violating their new data protection laws. They found that in certain places, users had been forced to accept the use of personalized ads. They weren't given an option. This is illegal under their new laws. So they opted to fine Meta 390 million euros, which is the equivalent of $414 million. Woof. And not only will they have to pay this fine, but they will also have to now conform to those new laws, which they weren't following, and that will hurt their profits as well. Because you see, if Facebook knows you're a 29-year-old female who shops on popular home decor websites, they will tend to show you ads in line with that. And that's why when you Google a product, you end up getting ads for that product all over the place or similar brands. From a brand's perspective, this is marketing gold. It really helps them find and court their most likely customers. So they're willing to pay top dollar for that service. But if they suddenly could not target their specific customer, well, it might be less of a draw and they might go spend their advertising dollars elsewhere. Experts guess that this ruling will potentially drive down profits in advertising 5 to 7%. That doesn't sound like a lot, but that percentage of Meta's advertising revenue is certainly in the hundreds of millions of dollars, if not in the billions. And it will be a major hit. And through their lawyers, they're already trying to argue that they do in fact follow these guidelines set out by European leadership. But this is a decision that took European leadership 4 years to come to issue this fine. So one would think that they are pretty sure Meta has violated the law. We'll keep you guys posted on this super important and relevant topic. And last up for today, NFL athlete collapses and causes debates and even conspiracies to bloom. So you may have heard by now that an NFL player named Damar Hamlin collapsed on the field due to cardiac arrest on Monday night. It was reportedly pretty horrifying for everyone who was watching, thinking they may be witnessing a young man's death. He's only 24 years old and suffered cardiac arrest. We all know football to be a violent sport. It's been that way since its onset. I mean, it involves very large, very strong men hurtling their bodies against one another. Despite protective gear, it's still a very dangerous sport. That's no secret. But some people are using this tragedy as an opportunity to climb up on their respective soapboxes. Some people are standing up to say that this proves football is too violent of a sport. It's too dangerous. And that's a pretty radical thing to say in American culture. Others, however, are trying to paint vaccines out as the problem. A former Newsmax correspondent tweeted, quote, "Everyone knows what happened to Damar Hamlin because it's happened to too many athletes around the world since COVID vaccination was required in sports." End quote. Now, the NFL has said that 95% of their athletes are vaccinated, but that's not all of them. We literally don't even know if Hamlin is or is not vaccinated. And they're jumping to this conclusion. Thanks to Musk's changes on the platform, Twitter is now a place where conspiracies like this that have no evidence to support their claims can run rampant, and they can be super dangerous when it comes to people's health. Also, cardiac arrest has not been linked in any way to the vaccines, just to clarify that. But long story short, we don't really know what happened to Hamlin. And doctors are saying that it could be kind of a freak accident, something that he was hit just the right way and it caused his heart to kind of freak out. And that's what the experts are saying. So these conspiracies are pretty wild, though not surprising in today's culture. And that is the news du jour. Today, I wanted to leave you guys with the quote, "The secret to getting ahead is getting started." If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use to listen. A rate and review or shout out on social media would mean the world to us and help us be able to keep creating the news du jour. But the best way to support all of our work is to become a patron at www.patreon.com/sugarfree media. You can also follow us on social media under sugarfreemedia.co on Instagram and just sugarfreemedia, all one word, on TikTok. We appreciate you listening and look forward to telling you about the news again next time on News du Jour.
Broadcasting from Oklahoma.